499 because how do you tell me that students pass an exam and suddenly you bring in a retrospective directive to try and cut them out when indeed they qualified? So for me, I feel it is a way to just micromanage, as I said, micromanage the numbers. Because 2 or 3 years ago, they started with this law village project. It's always been a case of gaslighting. They take cameras there when we are agitating or we are angry about something to go and take pictures and videos of nothing. In the end, the place is still growing. As of yesterday, I intentionally drove by. The place is weedy and nothing is happening. So why are we doing this to ourselves as if we have enough lawyers in the country? Especially when even the lawyers in the country who are practicing, from what I hear, those who go to court. In the country, I think they have about 7,000. But those who go to court are less than half. So you're talking of about 4,000. Yesterday, at an interview, I heard for the first time that the ratio of individuals to lawyers is about 1:7,000, between 7,000 and 10,000. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Every now and then we hear of judgment deaths, all sorts of things, because we don't have lawyers to.
Hassan, are you still there? I think your system is frozen. I still have a few questions for you. So once that stabilizes, I'll come back to you again. But let me go to Lawyer Maliba, who's on the line. Hello, sir.
Yes, I can hear you.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Spotlight. Now, when you look at legal education in Ghana as a lawyer, did you go through this process?
Not at all. This is a needless controversy. And this has been brought upon by the General Legal Council itself. This could have been avoided completely. Because when you consider the fact that the General Legal Council is the institution that regulates legal education in this country. And in that legal education, they teach the students to come out to defend the rights of others. Then you find that same institution turning around and putting directives or issuing directives out there, which suggests that that same institution is undermining the rights of the students. Now, what kind of students are you asking them to, what kind of lawyers are you asking them to come out to be? If on one breath you are teaching them to defend the rights of others, while in your own ways of doing things as an administrative body, you are stifling their rights. I do not think that even they themselves, if they were students and such a directive is issued, they would abide by it. It is completely wrong, and I think that they should reverse it.
Lawyer Maliba, when you listen to Hassan mentioned that the High Court had already ruled on this matter. Why is it still being enforced then? Are the members of the GLC above the ruling of the High Court?
No, he touched on something which has to do with the composition of the General Legal Council.
Okay.
Those who are there are Supreme Court judges. And so they see themselves above the High Court judge who would normally disagree with them. As in this case, they were disagreed. The issues were the High Court disagreed with the General Legal Council. Now, because they see themselves as the Supreme Court judges, it's difficult for them to come to terms with the fact that
the High Court,
it is their junior who is telling them that they are wrong. That's one. And so that's why there have been calls that the Supreme Court judge should not be part of the General Legal Council. Because they are the court of last instance. Such matters may even end up with them. And if they are the individuals will not be the ones sitting on the matter because they are in the General Legal Council, their colleagues will be the ones sitting on the matter. And they will not have what it takes to disagree with their colleagues who are on the General Legal Council, particularly when the Chief Justice is on it. So, and I'm saying this because one of them, who is not actually a Supreme Court judge, but one of the senior most judges in this country, Sam Okudzeto, critique the judgment of a High Court judge and said in public that the High Court judge should know that when Supreme Court judges sit to determine matters at the General Legal Council, it doesn't lie within the powers of the High Court judge to do that. But he has forgotten that the Supreme Court judges were not sitting at Supreme Court, but they were sitting in the General Legal Council as an administrative body. And the High Court has review powers over any administrative body. It doesn't matter who is on it. Even if the president who came down to sit in the General Legal Council, his decision will be contested at the High Court. So it has to do with the composition and the fact that those who are in the General Legal Council cannot come to terms with the fact that they are merely an administrative body and they don't sit at the Supreme Court.
Counsel, we've seen demonstrations, we've seen suits, and this problem still persists around legal education. What is the easiest solution?
I see that the problem has to do with limited space. Okay. Limited space. And so they come out with such directives to ensure that the state can do for those they are admitting or something of that nature. My view has always been that we can accredit the faculty to also run professional legal education. So University of Ghana has a law school. Accredit them to also run the professional course. I've heard people say that would lead to watering down the quality. No. I do not think so. When we were in school, we only had 2 medical schools in this country. Now there are so many medical schools. We even have private medical schools, and that has not watered down the quality of the return out. Same can be done, and this problem will go out.
Right. Thank you so much, Lawyer Maliba. I'll be back to you in a moment. Please stay on the line with us if that's possible. Let me go to SEPA. We have Mensa Thompson, who's Executive Director for the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability. Let me just see if he's joined us yet. Hello, sir. Good evening. Okay, I don't think we have Mensa Thompson on the line properly. We'll try to catch him. But let me go back to Hassan and see if he's been... his line has been stabilized. Hassan, are you there? Hassan, can you hear me? Please unmute yourself because I can't hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, your line got frozen earlier when we were speaking. If you can just pick up from where you left off.
I'm not sure where I was.
Yes. Sorry. And also, I think critical to this, I wanted to find out, did any students actually already sign this undertaking?
We would not be in the position to know, okay, because it is the case that you have to pay an amount of money. You deposit, you pay, there is, I've forgotten the name. There is, some kind of a check. You take it to the school. The school then gives you a password of some sort or numbers to go into the system to then do what you have to do. So it is only when you go there that you see the undertaking and other things that you have to do and the requirements. So if you go there and you are able to do what is expected of you, then it allows you to move from one point to the other. The issue is, if you don't sign the undertaking, you cannot complete the whole process. In that it will not allow you to go to the next point.
The next stage.
So I feel it is a deliberate and a very calculated way to force students to just do that before in fact, just to find a way to get students to sign up whether or not they want to do it. I believe that I had Lawyer Maliba talk about allowing the faculties. But even beyond the faculties, individuals are allowed to do that. If individuals want to also establish schools, it is provided in law. And I saw it in Article 25.2. It says every person shall have the right. Every person, it did not state who, shall have the right at his own expense to establish and maintain a private school or schools at all levels and of such categories and in accordance with such conditions as may be provided by law. So It is not, for me, I think the problem, the case of, when I hear things like it is about space, it is not that we cannot create a space. There are many facilities we can get to run this legal education if we want to run it. So for me, the bit about space is just an excuse. If we want to do it, we would have done it. And I've given an example of the Law Village, where they carry cameras there to go and show Ghanaians as if something is happening. And as soon as that settles, they leave the place. Nothing actually goes on. So for us, we have said that when it comes to legal education, it is not the case that we don't know that we have a right of some sort to be allowed to look into issues. For example, how do you tell me that when I fail, I cannot request for remarking, number one? Number two, how do you say that I cannot even see the marking scheme you used in marking my script? Number three, you are saying that I should accept without question. I think that is against conscience when it comes to legalities or law. And that is where I think I support those who are calling for the students to boycott the exams, because you are indirectly relinquishing your right for people to determine how you should live, which is unacceptable. Now, in the end, assuming a marker makes a mistake, instead of writing 73, they write 37, and you can't have the right to review, it means that at the end of the day, you have failed. Meanwhile, if you had the right to review, you would have passed. Mm-hmm. So for me, I think it's a way to intimidate, to micromanage, and the painful side is they accuse us that we don't meet the spec. I think the problem is them. Why do I say that? We have heard and seen in this country where people were smuggled into the law school for whatever reason, who did not have what it took. They did not write the exams. We know that too. So how do you tell that people are misbehaving and it's coming from the faculties, or they don't know what they're about? How do you differentiate between those you smuggled in and those you did not smuggle in? In the end, it is because this one came out, that is why we even saw it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have. So for me, I think it is a deliberate attempt to just try micromanage the numbers, because if they want to expand, as long as space is concerned, they can do that. If that is also not good enough, I think they can go into the Zoom and other electronic gadgets to find out, why should I be leaving my work or my business in northern region just because I don't have a law school there, and move down to Kumasi, leaving my business and everything, having 6 children, who is going to take care of them? And one of the requirements is for us to also not work. Why are we even frustrating ourselves like that? People sit in their homes and they write exams at the New York bars. In fact, they sit in their homes, learn, when their time is up, they go and write the exam. Students fail here, they go to Gambia, they become the best students. Mm-hmm. Why are we frustrating ourselves like that? What is the problem? So for us, we think these issues has to be resolved. Now, one of the ways, in my opinion, we can resolve this thing as soon as possible is to push for the private member bill that has already begun at Parliament. We are calling on parliamentarians to fast track this, because look, whether they like it or not, it may affect their children, it may affect a family member, it may affect somebody, because I've heard stories where people are rotting at in Sawim. They've been there for 5 years because of reprimand. All they need is someone from legal aid to say that, oh, they were right or they were wrong, for them to be released. But they are still there. If you go to legal aid, they need about, from what I gather, 2,000 lawyers. So far, they have less than 50 from my last checks. Why are we doing this? So for me, I don't see why these things go on, but I hope they have a good reason. And the bit about justices of the Supreme Court thinking they are above the law, I don't think that is also something we should encourage, because they know very well that when they sit at the GLC, the administrators, they shouldn't even encourage that bit. That makes it feel like because they are Supreme Court judges, they are above the law or they cannot be touched. We need to push away this thing and ensure that the High Court provision is enforced.
Thank you, Hassan. Let me just go to Mr. Thompson, who's joined us now on the phone. Good evening, Mr. Thompson. How are you? Thank you for joining us on Spotlight.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, you had a press briefing on this particular matter yesterday. What was your take, if you can take us through that?
Well, thank you very much. A very good evening to your listeners and viewers. Predominantly three things that we sought to put across. And the first was to strongly criticize this unlawful, unconstitutional undertaking by the General Legal Council. You know that the General Legal Council is a regulator of the law profession in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
They are also the people who run the legal education system in Ghana. Now, the head of the General Legal Council, both as the Chief Justice in India, the other justices of the Supreme Court, President of the Bar Association, representatives from the Bar Association, academia, and a number of highly rated legal luminaries who sit on the General Legal Council. To come out with an undertaking that is tantamount to a judge who, before a trial, asks either of the applicants to sign an undertaking to relinquish their right to appeal. Now, that is extremely embarrassing. I think that the General Legal Council, all the people who sit on the General Legal Council about the act, especially the President of the Bar Association, whose interest, one of which should be the training of young lawyers, and getting more lawyers placed to the retiring and redundant ones in the system. And so we are not pleased at all. We are extremely worried that such a council, with the powers of a superior court, would even conceive such an obnoxious, intransigent idea. We are strongly opposed to this, and we have called on the General Legal Council to, with immediate effect, review this unlawful undertaking, set up a pass mark for this year's entrance exam, allow students to be able to have their scripts remarked or request for remarking, or to request for retally of results. Again, we are calling for the immediate overhaul of the legal education and regulation system in Ghana. And what we are asking for is for government to immediately take steps to decouple legal education from regulation. You see, the law or lawyers are not the only profession in Ghana. We have medicine, we have nursing, we have pharmacy, we have architects. And all these are run by regulators. The regulator of the medical profession is the Medical and Dental Council. The Medical and Dental Council don't run their schools. They allow the faculties in the various universities to run the course, and they concern themselves with only the bar exams and professional standards. That is what the professional or the regulators do. And so you won't see students go to medical school in Legon or K University for 6 years and come out to write entrance exams to enter into Ghana Medical School. There's nothing like that. Neither does the Nursing and Midwifery Council, neither do the Pharmaceutical Council run a school. And so why is it that when it comes to the law profession alone, we combine regulation with education? The regulator wants to set the bar exams they want to be in charge of professional standards, and they also want to run their own school as well. That is tantamount to the disaster and the ridiculousness we've been witnessing every year because of some of these things. So we are calling for an urgent decoupling. The General Legal Council should be in charge of the bar exam and professional standards. They should leave the training of lawyers for the law faculties. They have moot courts, they have facilities for trial practice, and they can train lawyers. And so any student or an LLB holder should be able to go to any law school of their choice and then prepare to take the bar exam, which will be conducted by the General Legal Council. Then we take away all this brouhaha and all this issue of lack of space and all this ridiculousness which the General Legal Council continue to use to frustrate students. People go to school for 4 years, study very hard, pass their LLB, some get first class, and after are not able to get into the law school because the General Legal Council want to be the sole decider of who gets into law school. And we believe that some part of these motives is political. Because we've seen how President Akufo-Addo continue to dominate the judiciary with persons who are politically tainted. For example, the current appointment of Justice Yao Gaiwu, who until 2016 was a parliamentary candidate for the NPP in Whole West, was quickly taken to the High Court and quickly being pushed to the Supreme Court. And we believe that this vision of President Akufo-Addo to dominate the judiciary with elements lenient to the NPP is one of the reasons that is encouraging some of these needless undertakings, so that after students have written the exams, some persons will sit behind the scenes, look at people's names, and decide who should enter the law school to become a lawyer or not. And so if your name is Fatima Abubakar, they'll throw your script somewhere. If your name is Isi Fufuseni, they'll throw your paper somewhere, and then push some accounts into the law school to become lawyers because they believe that they have the high probability of becoming more lenient to the NPP. This is ridiculous.
Thank you so much.
Again, you remember last year, there was this allegation of illegal admission of students into the law school, where the Director of Legal Education was accused of admitting 10 students who did not go through any of the process of admission, not even take the entrance examination. Now, we believe that the General Legal Council want to perpetrate more of these frauds, and to prevent themselves to prevent people from finding out, they are asking people to relinquish their rights even before they take the exam, so that when it comes and you fail, you don't ask any questions, but some predetermined people will behind the scenes be pushed into the law school.
Right.
These are some of the challenges which we need to address, because it does not augur well for our judiciary. Siphon out every confidence that people have with the judiciary, and it breeds lower standards for the law faculties, who only train LLB students but do not have the powers to be able to provide the certified legal qualification training.
Right. Thank you, Mensah Thompson, for that submission there. Still on the lines, we have, in fact, let me just give out the phone lines. If you're a law student, you're watching us, and you want to join in the conversation, our phone lines are 0550 331511. That's 0550 331511 and 0204738 That's 0204738 we know Dennis Apialabi is on the line. Hopefully it's clear enough. Hello, Dennis. Dennis, can you hear me? So Dennis is president of the National Union of Ghana Students. He's just joining us to weigh in on this particular subject. Dennis, if you can hear me, please unmute yourself. Okay, I don't think I have you there, Dennis. I don't think I have you. So I'm just going to go back to Lawyer Maliba and speak to him briefly. I'll come back to you when your line is more stable. But, Councillor, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Right. All these, solutions that have been put forward, for the students especially, there are a lot of them who they're afraid that they're going to lose out in the process. The calls for them to boycott the exams, not every student has the courage to do that. So for the students who go ahead and sign these documents, what recourse is there for them?
I am informed that there's already a ruling on this matter.
Yes.
And if the General Legal Council was a party to this ruling, I think that lawyers of the students who went to court earlier on should cite the General Legal Council for contempt. Unless maybe this is a different matter which was not part of what the court took into consideration.
I think earlier Hassan made us understand that it was part of it.
All right. So, and it's the same General Legal Council who were authorized to not to give out such directives. And here we are, they are doing this. So this amounts to showing disrespect to the court. And like I said, they are Supreme Court judges, but they are not sitting as Supreme Court judges. They are sitting as an administrative body, and for that matter, they can be cited for contempt. That's one. Two, I think parents and all those who are interested in legal education in this country should rise up and to speak against what's happening. I think that if we pile pressure on them, they'll cave in because they are in the minority. If we just allow a few people to talk about it as we are doing, and then the greater numbers who are also supposed to talk and are not talking, it will give them that strength to continue doing what they are doing. But I think that parents should also come on board and, if need be, send petitions to the Chief Justice for them to move away from that line of thinking. It doesn't augur well at all for our democracy, for a country like ours, to have the General Legal Council. If this were Ghana Medical Association, I can understand. If this were the Pharmacy Council, I can understand. If this were the Engineers Council, I can understand. But not the General Legal Council, the council which teaches lawyers to come out and uphold and vindicate the rights of other persons, should not have their own students' rights being trampled upon by they themselves. So I think that it is repugnant, it is unconscionable, it does not sit well with any legal principle, and I think that there's a need for us to pile pressure on them.
There's also the suggestion to build more, more facilities, expand the school. But while this is going, how feasible is this anyway? How quickly can new schools be built to
It is not about a new school. It's about accrediting other faculties of law to establish their law schools. And then you now have the General Legal Council acting as the supervisor of the exam, or like the West Africa. It will be like the West Africa Exams Council, whilst we have all secondary schools in the country, and then when they have to write the exam, they will write the WASI. So the General Legal Council will now become like the WASI, and then the law schools will be there. Every faculty will have a law school, and so that will then bring in the numbers. This time round, you will not be talking about cutting down numbers. All that the General Legal Council will do is to be the institution responsible for the conduct of the exam. And then you leave the faculties to run their own programs in accordance with law.
Let's look at the calls for the decomposition of the council, the membership of the council. In the situation where, there's calls for these judges to resign, but we are not too sure that they're going to actually resign. What happens if they do not step back and they continue to push these policies?
Well, I think that one has to do with tinkering with the law. At the moment, Act 32 allows what is happening to happen.
Okay.
So if there's legislation that would be engineered, and that the legislation would recompose membership of the General Legal Council, that would be what it is. But if there's no such legislation, no amendment to the Act 32, then to have them voluntarily resign, you can't get it. Will not do that. But when there's an act or an amendment dealing with that provision and then taking them off, then that one, they will not have an option but to comply with the act. So we will need legislation. I'm hearing that there's a private member still. I've not taken time to look at it, but I'm hearing that.
But sorry, an amendment of the act, that takes quite a while.
Well, if you can pass a law to introduce it, you can pass a law.
Okay.
If we think that as a nation, well, you can go for there's what they call in Parliament emergency ways of doing it. You can even pass a law in the same one day. So if we think as a nation that it's of urgency, that law can be passed in a day.
Some have also suggested that they should be impeached. Is that a possibility?
They should impeach who?
The judges, the justices.
No, I don't think so, because for now, you may say that yes, they are not resigning, but they are there legally by law, and so they've not breached any provision, and so you can't impeach them. You only impeach them if they have broken some law or they have breached a law.
Right.
But for now, they've not breached any law, so you can't.
Right. Thank you, Counsel. I'm just going to go back to the line and see if I can get Dennis now. Hello, Dennis. Dennis, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Dennis is president of the National Union of Ghana Students. Have you been following this development, and what's the position of NUGS?
Thank you very much. I'm grateful that you have time to talk to me on this particular subject. I think that the union has released a statement regards to this just this afternoon. We have strongly condemned the actions of the Ghana Legal Council. We believe that for an institution that should be the upholders of the sanctity of the legal profession and the principle of rule of law and natural justice, to go against every part of these principles and to go against the basic provisions of the Constitution, it is unfortunate to say the least. It is also a grave indictment on the things that we believe and give ourselves to as a people. But I'll leave the lawyers and the law students to talk about the nitty-gritties or the basic legal parts of this part. But I would focus on the protection of students' interests and welfare. We as a union believe that you can't build an education sector that is founded on classism and the quest to serve just a few people. It is the reason why we believe that the National Union of Ghana Students is willing and ready to go all out in defense of students in this situation. To tell a student to undertake or sign or contract on their own rights is least unfair, unfortunate at worst, and despicable to say the least. I, as president of the National Union of Ghana Students, believe that our whole being should look at ways of bettering the system and ensuring that legal education is made accessible to all persons. That should be the focus of the Ghana Legal Council. It shouldn't be a systematic orchestrated attempt weaved to put people behind the wall or the fence in the pursuit of legal education. So we are, by our statement, calling on the Ghana Legal Council to, as a matter of emergency or urgency, we look at their decision or their undertaking that they are calling on students to sign. We are also saying to students to calm down, prepare for their exams, but note that this is not something that the students of this country will let slide. We are willing and ready to go every extent in defense of our students in this regard. The Ghana Legal Council is not outside the remit of our laws. The Ghana Legal Council is not outside the good intent and utmost good faith of building an education sector that works for young people and works for students of this country. So I, on the behalf of the National Union of Ghana Students, we have condemned this action of the Ghana Legal Council. We have also said that this is a call for every well-meaning Ghanaian to be worried about the kind of legal education we are building and the architecture of legal education we are building for young people in this country.
Right. Thank you, Dennis. I have a question here that I think is best answered by Hassan, so I'm just going to revert quickly to Hassan. Please stay on the line for us. Hassan, there's a question here about what finally happened to the 499. Are you able to give us any information on that?
Yes, they were admitted graciously.
Okay. So that, to an extent, is some relief for some. I'm going to take your last words on this subject, please.
Okay. So I'll try and be brief about this. Now, we believe that legal education should not be a reserve for the few. It is something that, in our opinion, if we do and do it right, it's going to help the nation. It is also the only organization, the only profession that you don't need to be employed when you go through all of the processes and come out properly. We feel it is a way, in a way, if we manage it properly, it will cut down also of unemployment. It would help people to be educated. It would also find a way to cut down on the numbers in the prisons, the judgment debts that we encounter every now and then, and all those things that actually does not benefit the nation as a whole. We believe that the issues surrounding this, the issues that we deal with year in, year out, are solvable. If we drafted the private member bill and looked at the composition of the GLC properly, these problems will be resolved. I believe that they know what they are doing, and it is very deliberate. I don't want to think it is something that they don't know. They are supposed to be the arbiters and the people who sit to resolve issues. So if this issue has persisted over the years and they are still looking on unconcerned, I am sorry, but I think it's very deliberate. I feel the only place at this point that we can look to resolve this once and for all is for the executive, led by the president, to make a statement on this matter. I was very happy when he said at Peace FM that we don't have space. Indeed, if it is space, we can resolve it. We can resolve it by going with technology, or we can expand by allowing the faculties to run the PLC, and then WAEC can sit as an examining body to supervise the examinations. And whether I stayed at home to learn or I went to some school somewhere and I'm able to meet the criteria after the exams, I am called to the bar. I don't know why we're overstretching this matter, but it does not help anybody in any way. It feels like we are breaking most parts of the Constitution. We feel very oppressed every now and then, and it doesn't give us the right framework to even focus on our studies, which is very bad. So for us, we think that these problems are solvable if Parliament can sit and look into this matter and draft the necessary documents, change the composition of the GLC, draft a private member bill which defines how legal examination and all that should go, I'm sure this problem will be resolved once and for all. Unfortunately, looking at the time, and the exam is in September, the court is on a legal break at this point, legal vacation. Parliament is also on a break, and it becomes a bit difficult to actually do anything. But as it stands right now, all options are open. But we are calling on the well-meaning Ghanaians, CSOs, anybody at all, to speak on this matter, because we think it is unacceptable, it is illegal, and somebody must make sure that this problem is resolved once and for all. We cannot be coming here, year in, year out, to be talking about the same thing as if we don't have solutions, when indeed we have solutions to resolve this once and for all.
Right, thank you so much. Hassan Asari is president of the National Association of Law Students. We still have lawyer Maliba on the line. Counsel, let me just take your last words on this. Can you hear me, Mr. Maliba? Okay, I don't think I'm getting your line there, so let me just come back to Dennis Pierre. Dennis, I have one question for you. You know, if I could take that as your last words, that would be great. But you do mention in your letter that you'll be engaging with stakeholders to try to solve this situation. So far, have you been able to engage with the GLC?
Yeah, we've not been able to have a conversation with the GLC. That conversation will definitely come on. Because in our last discussions or in our last visit to the Attorney General's office, I had expressed our worry about the perennial issues that comes along with entrance exams and the general legal education in our country. Calls have been made to their outfit, and we are working out to secure some meetings and discussions with them. But I have said, and I told him in our last meeting, that if our country does not put itself in a very good posture when it comes to assessing legal education in Ghana, the students will not sit aloof for every single time that there is an exam or there is accessibility issue. We are treated as outcasts in our own country. Wow. I communicated this to the Attorney General.
Thank you so much.
But then, in the coming weeks, our outfit and our colleagues at the National Association of Law Students will be taking series of actions and steps towards addressing this issue.
Thank you so much, Dennis Opiah-Labiampo, for his president of the National Union of Ghana Students. We're going to be following up with him and the other guests for updates on this matter and bringing it to you right here on MX24 television. We also spoke earlier with Abraham Amaliba, who's a private legal practitioner. We also thank Mensa Thompson, who's executive director of the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability. We are grateful for your time, especially to you at home. See you same time, Friday, 5 p.m., right here on MX24 television. Good evening.
Dreaming of a property for your home or workspace is one thing, but finding the property at the best locations with the most favorable condition and closing that deal is another. And that's why we are here. From Accra, Ghana, to Lagos, Nigeria, to Cape Town, South Africa, we are bringing you prime properties, affordable home solutions, and intriguing interviews with CEOs of various real estate companies and everything in between and on. My name is Kwesi Otten Desmond, and this is Property Take. Property Take, your gateway to Africa's real estate market. Showing this on every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. on MX24.
Hello and welcome to the Real Travel Show, where we take you on an exciting journey of fascinating places around the world. Invite your friends. Be my guest on this weekly journey around the world. Discover the food. Oh yes, my friend. The music, arts, culture, and the magical sights and sounds. The Real Travel Show with me, yours truly, Ras Mubarak. You, my friend, are very welcome.
This tune is made by Elizabeth. Oh, don't bring me chain, no, no more. 'Cause I'm feeling you, baby. Give me all you got and I'll be yours. Only you, oh, my baby. Anywhere you go, I will go. 'Cause I'm there with you, baby. Oh, don't bring me chain, no, no more. 'Cause I'm feeling you, baby. Bra, bra, me new best da. I go serious, yeah. I go serious, yeah. Oh baby, bra, bra, me new best da. I go serious, yeah. Hey, yeah. Boy, make I love you one time. I gotta love you all time. I no go leave you, baby boy, any other time. I no go do you one kind. Boy, me need noni. If I no see you, then I'm not me. True love is the story. Me and you, baby, for the glory. Oh na 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 na. No way, I will never leave you, baby. Lie, 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 lie. It's okay, I will always be your baby. Na 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 na. No way, I will never leave you, baby. Lie, 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 lie. It's okay, I will always be your baby. All over me, shame, no more. 'Cause I'm feeling you, baby. Give me all you got, baby. I'll be yours, oh my baby. Only you, my baby. Anywhere you go, baby. 'Cause I'm there with you, baby. Anywhere you go, baby. Bra, bra, me new best da. I go serious, yeah. I go serious, yeah. Oh baby, bra, bra, me new best da. I go serious, yeah. Baby, baby, Miss Young.
Ooh, yeah. Hey, hey. Young Connie one by one. Bed 2 by 2.
It's Mr.
Young Connie one by one. Bed 2 by 2.
Sister Mary, Adia, yeah, me there, yeah, me bo. Me de makoma so adia ma unko. Me se ma tria, minti unko.